I don't like that one bit. Don't
Oh,
like
this is
that.
glorious, Derek.
I
I've
don't
been
like that
waiting for this
one
day for so
bit.
long.
Well, hello and welcome to another edition of the PHNX D-backs podcast. Probably the worst episode I've ever taken part of. I, of course, am your mayor of wrongness, Derek Montilla, and I am joined by my vice mayor of wrongness, my co-host and friend, the one and only Jesse Friedman, who was also wrong, by the way.
I know I said on recent shows that I really wanted you to be right, Derek, but I've just decided to embrace it. The fact that you're wrong, dead wrong. February 14th, lockout is still going.
Let's just put it up. There it is.
Here we are. Yeah.
Here we are.
For the record, so the eyes in yours are definitely not great, right? You do look very sad, but the ones in mine were just flat out scared. Like that is just seriously off-putting right there, ladies and gentlemen. Yours just looks somber, right? But I look like I'm just, I don't know, like I've just completely gone off the rails.
That's the look of a man that's been wrong before, Jesse. And before we get too deep into this, of course, I want to let you all know that this show is brought to you by the fine folks at the DraftKings Sportsbook. NFL is over and NBA is king for now until hopefully baseball emerges like the groundhog looking for its shadow. But in the meantime, you can get some great action over at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, and it's too good to pass up. We're talking between the legs, 360, windmill, boom shakalaka good. All right, new customers can get just $1 on any team and get $150 in free bets if they win. It's that simple. Go bet it on the Phoenix Suns right now. It's what I did. DraftKings Sportsbook has all sorts of same game parlays that you can get in on. They also have some great options for a $10 free bet should you lose your money tonight. So maybe tonight's a good night for you to go put that $1 on any team to win and bet it on the Suns. Anyway, we're here. We're doing this thing. I'm wrong. I was wrong. And MLB made us all look like fools, of course. You and I both, and of course, our friend Charles Woodall Pike says glorious, and thank you. Yeah, of course. Our pictures are great. What can we say? I am sad to be wrong, Jesse, and I'm not just sad to be wrong because I obviously I don't like being wrong, but I'm used to it. I'm a seasoned veteran when it comes to being wrong.
Well, I mean, you're married, so I mean, it's pretty, you know how it is, right?
Well, that's not even that's just the surface level. I'm married with a daughter who's 10 years old and thinks she knows everything. So even when I'm not wrong, I'm still wrong somehow. But I'm sad to be wrong about this, Jesse. I'm sad to be wrong about baseball not resolving this issue. I'm sad that this is the day that I'm getting all these memories on my Facebook of 5-6 years ago when I used to take a bunch of photographs out at Salt River Field.
Salt River Field.
The players. It's killing me. Makes me miss baseball more than anything. I'm getting excited about looking at Bronson Arroyo throwing a fastball and stuff, and that's not great memories, but at least
that was no fastball, Derek. That was no fastball. But I think he threw about 85, 86 by the time he got to the Diamondbacks. It was a wonder that man was still a major league pitcher at that stage in his career.
You are not lying.
Incredible.
But it doesn't surprise me when it comes to the Arizona Diamondbacks that they probably would be one of the teams or one of the owners, one of the franchises that are in favor of what MLB is trying to negotiate and play hardball, no pun intended, with when it comes to the collective bargaining tax. It actually really, when you look at it, the collective bargaining tax, as boring as this is to talk about, really works in the favor of the Arizona Diamondbacks, right? So does this entire system right now that MLB has kind of set up. The way that pre-arbitration players are held to their contracts and to kind of low-paying salaries and such, it just helps what the Arizona Diamondbacks right now are trying to do as far as, rather than spending money on big, expensive free agents, loading up on cheaper, younger players, holding them in the minor leagues longer than necessary in some cases, just so that they don't start their service time. And then, all of that stuff kind of plays into the Arizona Diamondbacks revenue, right? The collective balance tax, which they don't pay because they don't exceed the collective or the competitive balance tax threshold. The draft and the revenue sharing that comes from it all allow teams like the Diamondbacks to make money, essentially, even when the stadium is empty, even when they're losing over 100 games. They're still getting billions of there's billions of dollars being generated and dispersed in annual league-wide broadcasting revenue. And again, a team like the Diamondbacks that have a very small payroll and lose a whole lot of games can still make a whole lot of money as a company, you could say.
It's dangerous, right? I mean, it's dangerous to allow organizations to just kind of go about their business and be profitable for, without really anything of their own doing, right? And that's kind of the situation that we're in right now. The Arizona Diamondbacks, and they're certainly not the only ones. There's a number of franchises in this position where they are profitable. Even if the Diamondbacks win 52 games like they did last year, they have an all-time low in terms of their attendance. They're a profitable organization because of the way that revenue sharing impacts the game. And I think the big problem here, Derek, that we all recognize is that doesn't give them a whole lot of incentive to go out there and spend money when they know, that revenue sharing is going to bring in all the money that they need in order to turn a profit in the end. So there's some more to dig into here, but on the surface, I mean, this is just a pretty clear issue that baseball has, and it definitely impacts the Diamondbacks.
You know what all this is, though, Jesse? Really, it's an excuse because we know I was wrong. I put my trust somehow in MLB foolishly, trying to be more of a lover than a fighter. But they are not, Jesse.
Sure.
They are not. They are picking fights all over the place. Like we said, the Diamondbacks, or not the Diamondbacks because they're just caught up in this, but MLB has gone full heel on everyone, and they don't care it really feels like they don't care what like society feels about them right now, right? This lockout is impacting spring training, which has this ripple effect that goes out, and I talked about it in my piece on gophnx.com, but it's really the most inconsiderate part of this entire situation, right? I saw the craziest stat today, which was from an LA Times article. And the stat was that the average Dodgers fan during spring training spends on average $439 per day during a spring training visit.
Wow.
$439. Now, I'm guessing
I guess that's like hotel and all that stuff, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Out of state. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm guessing they're factoring an average hotel cost, average meals that they have to eat. They're not, that they're going to eat out on all those meals. They're going to spend money at the ballpark. I'm sure they're factoring in possibly a merch, like a hat, t-shirt or something. But that, when you really think about that, that's an incredible amount of money. And honestly, at times, there have been times where I've gone to cheap sporting events where the tickets were something like, $30 or whatever. And then I found myself spending an incredible amount of money before the night was over. Right. So it's not like say that's out
low ticket prices are really they're just a way to get you in the door. Right?
It just means it just means I could do that much more damage when I get in the door.
It's like going to the state fair or something. Like you don't really, it doesn't really matter how little it costs to get in the state fair. But everyone knows you're going to spend at least $100 or $200 by the time you leave there. So that's the trap that we all fall into.
Going back to the comments, our friend Charles Woodall Pike said, as a hockey fan, I sympathize all too well with the dealing with a lockout delaying the season. Yes, NHL has been probably a big culprit when it comes to the lockouts and labor disputes. Evan Thompson, our buddy, says I was wrong too. I thought it was going to be worked out by the day after the Super Bowl. It just
so it's National Evan is wrong too.
Yeah,
hey, we'll get a
graphic made. Don't worry, we'll get a graphic made. He said we have not had a normal spring training since 2019. I'm tired of this. Can we have some sanity, please? Yes. Interesting that you bring that up. Spring training in 2018, the economic impact on the state of Arizona, $644 million in 2018 when a full spring season was played. That's a lot of money. This does say spring training, so this might include Florida. This might not be exclusive to Arizona, but still, $644 million being generated, and that's in 2018 for the local areas, right? I was thinking about it the other day. I saw someone make a comment on it, but like areas like Maryvale here in Arizona locally, that's like their biggest time of the year, right? And even a shortened spring training, it's gonna be still happening, and then people locally that live here might go out and take a day off and go see it or whatever. It's still not going to bring in the tourists and people from outside of the state like it would when those people can't be confident on when these games are going to be played or when they can make arrangements to fly out and stay at a hotel.
Now, granted, they've already bought their tickets probably because spring training tickets have been on sale for months now for whatever reason. But just so everyone knows, if you have a friend who invites you to a spring training game that's in 2 weeks, don't buy it. Don't be so naive. I don't think that game is going to happen, unfortunately.
I had someone ask me that, and I was just like, I don't know. They were like, I have plans to go to a spring training game. I'm like, I don't know if you do. I don't know if you do. Hey, Patrick Lyons is here. So this is the best show ever because we need to just have him jump on the StreamYard. He says MLB doesn't want to play minor leaguers now. What's next? Cotton candy only for those age 21 or older? Well, it depends on what is in that cotton candy, Patrick Lyons. And I will say there's a lot of ridiculous things. I feel like MLB next wants to cut out a couple of umpires from the game because they seem excessive to have 4. And if that brings in robot umps, Jesse, I'm all for that. And I'm not talking about you. I mean, the actual robot umpires, of course, this guy over here that we're talking about. But a friend of mine was like, is third base really necessary? That's what it's starting to feel like. And MLB is just kind of getting crazy with it. The firing minor leaguers or wanting to fire minor leaguers, wanting to not carry so many, wanting to draft less, wanting to pay them less. It's just all bad. But like I said, they're right now in a position where they don't seem to care about public scrutiny. They don't seem to care because it's all bad press for them right now. So again, it's like might as well just bring it all on right now. And
what's another hit piece on Major League Baseball ownership? I mean, at this point, right?
They'll just get their writers to write a hit piece on you. That's the way it works.
I'm surprised. We'll get Mark Feinsand over at MLB.com to tell how ridiculous the Players Association is being and all their unreasonable demands and all these things.
I'm not lying. I'm not surprised they haven't come for us yet, Jesse. Evan says, oh yeah, we already talked about that. Josh, dang, think of all that money everyone is missing out at during spring training, and it's ridiculous, right? I mean, it really is. Especially when again, looking back on it, it's a self-imposed situation. MLB's doing it to themselves. They don't need to be doing it, but they feel like it's necessary. In fact, I don't remember this because obviously neither one of us were old enough to be really understanding what was going on. I don't even think you existed yet, but with the strike in 96, they didn't actually have a new CBA in place when the strike ended. It was actually a judge that required them to go back to playing. So they went to playing under the existing CBA.
Which you can do.
They could literally, like you said, you were 100% right. Rob Manfred could tomorrow morning say the lockout is over and we're going to continue to negotiate the CBA. They don't actually have to have a CBA in place. It's just that moment of looking weak. Oh, Evan had
it's just they have more.
96 is when they came back. 95, 96. Yeah, no, you're right. It was 94, 95. But you're older than me, Evan, and you've proved it here today. Charles says MLB wants baseball to only last 2 hours. Just put a timer on it. When it ends, it ends. Doesn't matter if it's in the middle or in a bat or even in play. I mean,
that would actually be kind of fascinating.
Just when the clock strikes,
play the clock, have your pitcher, have your pitcher just kind of mosey around and delay for a while. I don't know.
Yeah, I love it. Josh Hunt says it feels like everyone in baseball leadership hates baseball. It absolutely feels like that. That's absolutely what it feels like. And it's absurd. And now you have guys leaving the game, which we'll talk about next, but don't leave the game. don't leave us. Sit here, listen to us, talk to us. But if you haven't done it already, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Of course, NBA action is hot. The Suns, they are very, very hot. They are the hottest team in baseball. God, I miss baseball so much. But new customers over at the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, can get this great deal. Just bet $1 on any team, and you will get $150 in free bets if they win. It's that simple. Instantly, too. You'll get those bets instantly. I love to get those bets back and just turn them right around and bet again on other games, usually future Suns games. But existing customers can get in on the action with same game parlays, which I've been doing. I'm going to give you my same game parlay for the Suns game tonight if you're watching us live right now.
Oh,
I'll give it to you.
A very crippled Clippers team, from what I know.
You're not wrong about that. You're not wrong about that.
For them right now.
I did a same game parlay. I took the Suns money line. I also took Cam Johnson over 8.5 points. Chris Paul over 12.5 points. Under 13.5 assists for Chris Paul.
Wow, the over under is 13.5.
13.5 assists. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Devin Booker's over under is 2.5 assists. So I took the over on his assists, and then I took Ayton at over his over 13.5 points. So there you go. It's not even Thursday, and I'm giving you a DraftKings pick of the week. But go download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Don't listen. Maybe listen to me. Maybe not. I don't know. My track record isn't the best, but
on National Derek is Wrong Day as we're celebrating.
It's probably not the best day to listen to me.
You guys don't want to place that.
I'm gonna tote this victory of Blue Gatorade. This is my Blue Gatorade trophy for winning a bet on Blue Gatorade. But
did you buy that for yourself, Derek?
No, my wife got it for me. It's an AirPods game, and it's amazing. It's my Valentine's Day gift, along with the bat that I showed you. But again, new customers, get down on the action. Bet $1 on any NBA team to win and get $150 in free bets if they do. That's promo code PHNX at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 and over only, Arizona only. Gambling problem? Dial 1-800-NEXT-STEP. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And Jesse, yes, we have another great player leaving the team, a player leaving the MLB, but leaving his team that he's played with his entire career. Ryan Zimmerman today announced his retirement after 17 seasons, 17 years. I don't know if it's seasons or years, but 17 years with the Nationals. So it's kind of crazy because believe it or not, there are a lot of guys over the last 20 years that spent their entire career with one team, but not as many as I thought. And it's mostly some pretty big names, right? You got like Derek Jeter and Mariano Rivera and Jorge Posada all in the Yankees, Jeff Bagwell, Craig Biggio with the Houston Astros. And then like it kind of gets sporadic after that. I mean, there's not a lot of players, a lot of teams that had guys for their entire career. No Arizona Diamondbacks players on that list at all. Tim Salmon, who played with the Anaheim Angels. That was surprising that he was with them as long as he was. He went to my high school right here in Phoenix, Greenway High School. That was like one of the big athletes, right? So we got some names on there, but surprised to see Todd Helton. Todd Helton was crazy because his it's like 95 to like 2012 or something. Like just I know it's not that long. It's the same amount as Ryan Zimmerman. It just looked longer, like the amount of decades that he's played in one sport. But I mean, thoughts? Do you find it surprising at all that there was this amount of players that that are retiring? Guys that, I mean, and not in Ryan Zimmerman's case necessarily, because 17 seasons, 17 years, that's a lot. But I mean, what are your thoughts?
I respect guys who are able to stay with the same organization their entire career. And granted, it's not just up to them, right? I mean, it requires mutual interest with the team. And, it's really magical when something like that happens where both sides, enjoy the partnership enough for a player to stay with one team for as long as some of those guys did. Brandon Webb is the one name that comes to mind for the Diamondbacks, who's really close to being on a list like this. He obviously didn't play nearly as many seasons as most of those guys that you just named. But technically, he was a Texas Ranger at the very end of his career before he decided to retire. So I guess that sort of interferes with things on his front.
Yeah, we had Josh Hunt said, I believe Brandon Webb did, though technically no, he got signed with the Rangers but never played.
Yeah, that one's a little bit harder to say, but his career obviously is significant, not 17 seasons. I think it's 2003 to 2007, something in that range. It's not nearly as lengthy as some of those guys, primarily due to injury. I mean, I still wonder, Brandon Webb is not that old. I don't know off the top of my head, but he's not that old. Like he probably, if his arm hadn't gone out, if he'd been able to stay with the Diamondbacks, it's not unreasonable to think that he could have been a Diamondback up until just a few years ago, because he was really pretty young when he was forced to retire due to that arm issue that he had.
Oh, Jesse, how silly of you to believe that they would have kept him here the whole time. Come
That's
on.
fair. That's
They
fair.
don't do that.
Yeah, that's very naive of me.
Evan says Brandon will be 44 this year. So,
okay.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe probably about 5
not
years
the
ago.
last couple years ago. Yeah, not the
But-
last couple years, but yeah, I mean, 2015, 2016, like that's not impossible.
Josh Hunt asks in regards to Ryan Zimmerman, Hall of Fame career. What do you think?
No. I don't think Ryan. I think he's a great player. Respect what he did. He had some great seasons as a Washington National, but
just didn't have the accolades that you would really need to necessitate a Hall of Fame career, right?
Yeah, let me look at his numbers real quick. So his career batting line, he hit 277 with an 816 OPS. He had 284 career home runs. So there's some big numbers there for sure. Career
imagine having a career 816 OPS in 17 seasons or 17 years. That's crazy.
It's impressive. But for a guy who plays third base and first base, you're gonna need to really, knock the crap out of the ball in order to be, a Hall of Fame candidate. But a great career nonetheless. Maybe he appears on the ballot at some point, but not someone I would expect to see in the Hall of Fame.
And I know we've talked about this at length, but do you see any? I mean, it's so hard, but do you see the Diamondbacks committing to guys like this now for the future? Do you see, because of the way that they're building, that they might just maybe keep some of these prospects that, if they do turn out to be as good as we all believe they can be, does an Alec Thomas, does Corbin Carroll become a lifelong Arizona Diamondback, the first, perhaps?
I'd really like to think so, Derek. I'd really like to think so. But the problem is, and this goes back to what we talked about on the front end of the show, the problem is that what teams like the Diamondbacks and even the Rays and the Pirates and some of these lower market, lower spending teams are doing is they're just not keeping players, right? Their strategy is to try to retain a player for as many of their affordable years as you can, and then move on from them the moment that they become more expensive. Even the Rays, as good as they've been, they've still embraced that strategy. You're not going to find many players on that Rays lineup that are, outside of their pre-arb years. Or I guess some of them are probably into arbitration at this point, but there's not a lot of guys there who've been extended on any kind of contract whatsoever after their rookie deal. We've even seen the Rays float around the idea of trading Austin Meadows, one of their better outfielders lately, because once a guy gets expensive, they want to move on, right? And unfortunately, it's hard to see the Diamondbacks not doing something similar, unless, maybe this CBA moves things in the right direction. Maybe the players get some of the things they're looking for, and maybe owners have more of an incentive to spend and try to, maintain their team's players, retain some of those guys that have historically left for other organizations.
You'd love to see it. You would just love to see it, but who knows?
Yeah.
I need to see them commit to it and actually do it. At times it seems like the way that they're running this team seems more like what we talked about earlier with making a profit off of a 100-loss team is as of late, more than it seems like they want to build a competitor. But the future,
and this
who knows
isn't
what the future holds.
this isn't news to anyone, but the problem isn't, it's not a Mike Hazen problem. It's a Ken Kendrick problem, right? It
We
goes
all know
back to
that.
ownership. We all know that. And Ken Kendrick is probably going to be the Diamondbacks owner for quite some time from now. So it's hard to see an end to something that's gone on for so long when, things have kind of been run the same way ever since he came to town.
Well, over on gophnx.com today, we have some great articles coming out. Craig Morgan spoke with the Coyotes president and CEO, Xavier Gutierrez, about the new multi-purpose arena at ASU that the Coyotes will be playing at. Not to mention, of course, all of our wonderful articles on baseball, the lockout, Dan Straley, and more over at gophnx.com. If you haven't signed up already, I don't know what you're waiting for, but please, I implore you to check us out. And if you like what you see, maybe stick around with an annual membership. You can get that annual membership, which will get you a free t-shirt over at phnxlocker.com, get you access to the full website, all of our content, plus our members only Discord and members only discount over at phnxlocker.com. If you're not interested in the t-shirt and the annual membership and the saving money and loving us as much, I get it. I understand times are tough. You can get the month-to-month option, 50 cents for your first month. Try us out. If you like it, stick around. Maybe get the annual membership. If not, no hard feelings. It's all right. Derek's okay with being wrong, and that's what today is all about. I've accepted it. I understand. Derek was wrong. That's the way that this works. Derek was wrong, and I'm fine with it. But I'm not wrong about how great those t-shirts over at the phnxlocker.com, and I'm definitely not wrong about coming over and joining us in the Discord. We'll talk about whatever you want. If you want to talk about Book of Boba Fett in the season finale, I'll talk to you about that for hours. The lockout, maybe not so much, but we can talk about other stuff in the Discord. Anyway, I will tell you, I am excited. Valentine's Day, Jesse. Of course, I know it was a bad day. It was a bad day because obviously Derek was wrong. Of course, yeah, we get it. We get it. Derek was wrong, but it was Valentine's Day. So I had a wonderful day with my wife. I hope everybody had a wonderful day with their significant others. And we had an opportunity to help people out, Diamondbacks fans, by creating some wonderful Valentine's Day cards. Maybe if you forgot it was
make some
Valentine's
good
Day,
ones. Yeah.
maybe it was some last minute shopping to help you out. We did come up with some stuff for you. Of course, sending you gallons of love this Valentine's Day. I like that one. David Peralta, our love is like a freight train. I don't know what that means necessarily, but
don't ask questions, Derek. It's not about what it means.
David's excited about it. David knows what it means. That is a man that knows what we're talking about when we talk about love being like a freight train. This one a bit scary, but separately we are small components. Together we make a big unit. You can take that however you want to. I'm not going to judge however you want to take that, but of course my favorite one is, I promise I won't let you down. Oh, yes, money.
I don't think anyone wants any part of that Valentine's Day card.
He did though. I mean he was good at that. Anyway, I hope everybody had a great Valentine's Day. Obviously, we didn't, because we still have this lockout going on. Instead of us talking about the smell of the grass, hearing the crack of the bat, or at least the ball hitting the mitt, as pitchers and catchers would report, we are still locked up in this stupid ongoing saga, which, at this point, we are never getting out of. It feels like, Jesse. I don't know what to say, but
so what do we do now? Do we make new predictions? Is that the move, or should we? Maybe we should. I don't know. Maybe
Are we wrong again? Do we get wrong again?
We're probably just going to be wrong again. I don't want that graphic that was made with my eyes to ever see the light of day again.
Well, you're not getting this one. You're not getting omnipotent Jesse back. That's not coming back for sure. But I will say that we do have I guess an on the spot prediction to make. I can say maybe at this point we should predict spring training and what's going to happen with it. How many weeks do you think get shaved off spring training? Rob Manfred said that they could go with as little as 4 weeks of spring training. And I believe what he means by that is without it impacting the season. Obviously 4 weeks seems like the minimum from what he's saying. So, do we still have spring training? Does it pass by the spring training time and then we have these 4 weeks of whatever camp or whatever they're going to do to get prepped once we're into the season starting? How long does this draw out now?
I unfortunately, as much as I would love to be optimistic and still say that, spring training, we're going to lose a few days, but like you said,
That side of you's dead now. The
we can trim a
optimistic
week
side is
off
dead.
and we can,
Yeah.
we can still make it in time for opening day. I no longer think that. I think that baseball will not start on time talking about opening day. I don't think we're going to play 162 games in 2022. And that's okay. I mean, if it's 140, if it's 150, we'll put up with it. Derek and I will be here. We'll be here to break it down as it happens. But I am no longer confident about that. I do think that they're going to trim spring training as much as they can because they're not going to want to miss out on any more regular season games than they have to. So I think that 4-week mark is probably what it'll wind up being at the end of the day.
I hate to agree with you because I want to be cautiously optimistic about this situation. I want to say, Jesse, that I feel like the pressure is truly on now. And what's weird is it reminds me of, I mean, we've made this comparison before, right? Just as a joke, but it really reminds me of the old Hamilton gunfight thing, right? It's like up to this point, you had all these chances to stop it, right? And now, like, it literally feels like the next move is them turning around and pointing guns at each other. Like we got past the representatives having a negotiation and talking, and that didn't work out. And now it feels like
They're just
Rob
gonna have to fight
Manfred,
it out.
and they're just gonna have to turn around and shoot.
I
And
think
like, here's the thing:
the players are a little bit more fit than the owners probably are.
they
So
are, as
I don't know
far
if
as
they
their
want any kind of
reflexes.
physical fight happening
Yeah,
there.
man. Here's but my point being is like I feel like both sides were trying to use time against each other, and
Yeah.
it's
We're at
odd
that point
because
where it's
right,
starting to time is short now. Time is
yeah.
officially short. So there is about as much incentive as there's ever going to be as far as time is concerned.
Now, again, like I said, I wonder if we see federal involvement, not from a mediator, but from a judge. Last time it was Judge Sotomayor who made the declaration that the baseball had to get back to work. So without a new CBA, I wonder if we're going to see that at this point. I feel like they, I mean, like I said, time's run out, and they're literally both looking at each other, kind of waiting for the other side to concede. I feel like we haven't heard much concession from the owner side still. It's not to say that we don't get details that they are moving the needle a little bit closer, but it's like they're taking baby steps while the, players are taking huge 3-step, leaps towards trying to meet in the middle. They just can't go. They can't be the one that gives in completely. They have a reason for their numbers. They have a reason for the things they're requesting. They know how much baseball, costs. They have all the analytics. They have all the numbers. Like, baseball the MLB wanting to cut back on like their minor league players and things like that. Someone ran the numbers, and it costs like $2.5 million a year in the ballpark between $2.5 to $3 million to run the entire minor league organization. It's basically the cost of a mediocre player at the big league level to, well, not mediocre, I'd say kind of good, average, good player, but not great, not a superstar or anything like that, to run your entire minor league organization, and you're nitpicking at those dollars, to try to cut those dollars down and such. Really, like I said, the housing situation that they agreed to seems to really come back to be like affecting this. I feel like, even though it's not being talked about, I feel like how much money MLB will now have to spend on minor league players housing is why they are now trying to cut back on the number of minor league players that are in their system altogether,
for sure,
right?
for
Like,
sure.
let's just trim back a little bit of the fat on every team just to down to 150 total. And then that way, secretly we got rid of like 200, 300 plus players without really blinking an eye,
I think people would probably rather that in some respects, right? Like, I think we'd rather have a few, well-paid minor leaguers who can afford everything that they need, can afford to go home and eat at night, than have a bunch of minor leaguers who can't afford some of those basic living expenses and have to pick up second jobs and whatnot. So, I mean, if it's a choice, and it seems like that's what the owners are trying to impose, I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to making the minor leagues a little bit smaller, as sad as that is, right? I mean, none of us want to see minor league baseball get smaller, because it really is kind of the lifeblood of America's pastime in many ways. But I mean, if that's the only way, I think a lot of people would prefer that.
Well, we've talked about it. Like in some cases, these these minor league teams for some cities are like their only major team. It's their only chance to have a
Yeah,
sports
right.
team that
That's
they
why
root
it's so
for, that they go
sad.
see.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is sad. But like, honestly, we are having this. A minor league player today posted a TikTok video of how much money he made in the Padres system last year. He put it on TikTok. It was less than $12,000, right? You mean to tell me, especially prior to them paying for their for their housing, you mean to tell me someone can live on $12,000 a year? And then it's not like it's, oh, okay, once you get to double A, now it's 24,000. And when you get, no, it was like 12,000, 14,000, 16,000. Like, you mean to tell me you expect these guys to live on what's less than minimum wage? It's crazy. And so you're
Yeah.
right. I mean, to what you're saying is right. To be able to pay them better and have them, again, it makes baseball a more attractive sport for young people to want to play. Hearing all of this, I would never want to play baseball. What kind of crazy thing is that,
Yeah.
to try to recruit people, to try to recruit athletes to play that sport, to have your minor league be so unappealing, right? We talked about
Yeah.
it on the Cardinals show with Kyler Murray. Where would Kyler Murray be right now if he would have chose baseball over football? Right?
Yeah,
What
he'd
is he?
probably be in Amarillo, Texas,
In
trying to,
Amarillo,
in
Texas, right?
some city, some
He'd be
random
up here
city.
waiting to report to camp, to be here at the big league camp for a little bit. And we probably wouldn't see Kyler Murray's name again for 2 more years, maybe, as at a major league level.
Granted, he'd probably have a fuller Instagram profile. That is the one.
Oh, Jesse, too soon, you monster. But I just want baseball back. That's all I want. I don't care that I'm
Yeah.
wrong. I don't care that Jesse was wrong. Jesse was wrong too. Like,
Oh,
if you notice the title of the
ugh.
show and the description, I didn't take the heat alone. I was wrong. You were wrong. We were all wrong. Because baseball makes us all look like fools. Baseball doesn't seem to care about anything right now. That's why it almost makes me laugh, because they truly are like a pro wrestling heel. They just don't give a damn, and it almost seems to delight them to infuriate us more. It almost like, let's do all the things that are going to piss off the fans and the players. Like, let's go after
Right.
minor league. Where's Santa Claus? Let's go fire Santa Claus. Like, they'll do anything. But I can't wait for this to end, because I need baseball back. And that's it's where I'm at. I'm sad, Jesse. I'm sad. And again, I don't mind being wrong, because I was hopeful this would happen, and I truly thought it did. You said that you were being a bit optimistic when you made yours, but you kind of knew it wasn't
Yeah.
going to be. I can't take that same kind of. I wish I could take that way out, but I didn't. I thought, like, oh man, by the time pitchers and catchers report, that heat's really going to be on.
Yeah.
Apparently that doesn't matter. So, but it's finally starting to resonate with people, though. I've finally had people coming to me and being like, "What's going on with baseball?" And I don't have an answer. I've had people calling me again, like the spring training thing, to see if they should have people fly in or not. My advice has been
Yeah.
no. That's been my
Yeah.
advice. So I don't.
Make sure
I
those flights are refundable if you're
yeah,
if you're booking anything.
make sure you get a credit and you can use those miles later. But we thank you guys all for joining us. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter. I'm at cap_caveman with a K. Jesse is at Jesse N. Friedman. Our show is at PHNX_DBacks. But of course, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports, and that's on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We are at PHNX Sports on YouTube. If you're watching us right there, right now, commenting, we thank you guys for joining us. We love when you guys join us and comment, give us more to talk about. And again, you
Yeah.
help take our minds off of how wrong we both were. Not just me. Jesse was wrong too. But you can definitely follow us on YouTube and sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss any of the amazing content coming out from the PHNX team. We have some great stuff. Again, the Suns are amazing. The Coyotes, they found a home. The Diamondbacks, we're here too. The Cardinals, that's a whole other dumpster fire that I don't feel like dealing with right now. But again, we hope you guys are enjoying the content. Sign up to become a member over at gophnx.com. Go over to DraftKings Sportsbook. Use our code of PHNX. Sign up. Make some money. Bet on the Suns. It's always a good idea. We thank you again for watching. Jesse, let's get this lockout over with, sir. I need it to happen. All right.
Let's stop
We'll
making
go.
predictions.
We'll go. Yeah, let's stop making predictions. And yeah, because it doesn't feel like it's ever going to end. But we thank you again for joining us. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when we just play baseball.